In last lecture on CPM and PERT, we have seen how to find critical path if you are provided with the information pertaining to various activities, its dependencies, and the activity duration. In this lecture, we'll be seeing how to set the times of various activities so that project gets completed in minimum cost. Right? That is called this algorithm is called as crashing up networks. Right? So we'll be seeing how to crash the network through a problem wherein you are having 8 activities A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Activity A depends on nothing. B, C, and D depends on completion of activity A. E depends on completion of activity B and C. F depends on completion of activity C and D. Here, one thing is important. Activity E and F commonly depends on completion of activity C. Other activities, however, different. But there is one common activity in depends on column, that is activity C. This is indicative of the fact that you will have to make use of dummy activity for representing this dependency. That is to say, whenever you have one activity in common and another activity is different, okay, in the dependency information column, then it is indicative of use of dummy activity for representing that on network. Lastly, activity G depends on completion of activity E and F. Okay. Now, in this problem, you are given the data pertaining to time and cost when the project is carried out in normal way, and also the information about time and cost if the project if the time is crashed. Time is crashed means in lesser time, if the activity is to be completed, then how much cost will be required, right? It is obvious that if you want to complete the activity in lesser time, then more resources will be required, and because of that, the cost for completing that activity in lesser time will be more, right? Now, for example, activity A, it takes normally 70 hours to complete that activity, and the cost is 500 rupees. Whereas if you want to complete the activity in 50 hours, that is in less time, it will be taking 900 rupees, right? So this kind of information is given for all the activities. For example, last activity we'll be seeing, it takes 60 hours normally and normal cost is 800 rupees. If you want to complete this activity G in lesser time, it can be completed minimum in 40 hours, not less than that. And it will be taking 1000 rupees to complete the activity in 40 hours, right? So this information then can be converted, then have to be converted into what is called as cost loop. That is to say, how much cost is required for crashing the activity by 1 hour, right? So that we necessarily won't be completing the activity in either 70 hours or 50 hours as far as A is considered. If we know the crashing cost per hour, then we can settle somewhere in between 70 and 50, right? Our objective as far as this problem is concerned is to complete the project in minimum cost, right? So there is one thing given in addition to this data pertaining to the normal cost, normal time and normal cost, crashing time and crash cost. There is one more cost which is given, that is indirect cost is 40 rupees 40 per hour. Okay, for whatever duration this project is working, there is working on this project for that much of duration at the rate of 40 rupees per hour, there will be indirect cost will be charged, right? So for all the activities, we have found out crashing cost per hour. That is also called as cost slope. That is delta C divided by delta T. The difference in the cost, that is 900 minus 500, 400 divided by the time, difference in time, 70 minus 50. Difference in time and difference in cost is taken in such a way that both of them are positive, right? 900 minus 500 divided by 70 minus 50. So that comes equal to 20. Okay, it will be taking 20 rupees to crash the activity A per hour. It will be taking 40 rupees if you want to crash activity A by 2 hours. That's how this cost slope helps you. Cost slope, for example, for activity D will be found out as 1400 minus 800, that is 600, divided by 60 minus 40. 60 minus 40, 20. So for activity D, 600 divided by 20, the cost slope or crushing cost per hour is rupees 30. So having understood this, we now will be representing this information, dependency information on the network. Activity A is starting activity, right? And it takes 70 hours normally. So I have marked that activity 70. Activity A 70. Now, the lengths of the activity are not real representation of the activity duration. We have simply drawn a segment to just indicate that it is an activity. Okay, 70 we have written just for our information that A takes 70 hours to complete. That length is not 70, right? Activity B, C, and D depends on activity completion of activity A. Here is activity B, here is C, and here is D. Okay, I initially didn't bend activity B, okay, but later when I knew that it will be better to bend activity B, then only I have bent it. Now, when did I realize that I have to bend activity B? When I draw activity C and D, then I go to activity E, which depends on completion of B and C. Okay, so I want to join activity B with activity C. So I found it necessary to bend activity C. Okay, or I might extend this activity pretty ahead, and then I will be moving this activity in this direction so as to have the intersection here. But this is also permitted that you can bend the activity, right? So I have bent it. So I could have drawn this activity C like this, right? I could have drawn directly an activity C to meet the end of B, right? But foreseeing some problem occurring because of this arrangement, precisely if you want to draw activity F, which depends on C and D. D activity I have drawn, but now for drawing activity F, I have to create the intersection of C and D only. Now activity C, if suppose say I have drawn directly like this without having any slack in between, the what will happen, I will have to draw a dummy activity. I will have to draw a dummy activity from this intersection of B and C to join to this node. But in that case, what would have happened? This node would have represented completion of activity B, C, and D together. But I want the completion of activity C and D to start activity F. That's why what I did, I completed activity C here, and then by dummy activity, I have managed the intersection, I have managed the join of B with C. Okay, the dummy join of B with C. Okay, so activity E will be starting after completion of B and C, and now activity F starts after completion of C and D. For that, I'll be dropping the dummy activity from the end of C to the end of D. okay, at this node. Now this node is indicating to you completion of activity C and D. All right. Now lastly, activity E and F join on the completion of activity E and F, which is signified by node 6. I have labeled the node as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Node 6 signifies completion of activity E and F, um, and start of activity G, because G depends on completion of activity G and F. This is how I have drawn the network. And on the network, I have also posted the activity duration. For example, A takes 70 hours, B takes 40 hours to complete, C takes 50 hours. This information is already given in this table, right here, right? I am taking normal durations. So then D takes 60 hours. Dummy activities, they take 0 hours. They are just drawn for the convenience of joining the activities so as to take care of the proper dependencies. E takes 70 hours, F takes 50 hours, G takes 60 hours, right? Now, you will be using certain algorithm which is taught to you in previous lecture on CPM and PERT to find critical path. What do you do while finding critical path? You take a forward pass, and in forward pass you find TEs at each of the nodes. Then you take backward pass. In backward pass, you find TLs at each of the node, and then you find slack, and you connect the activities with you connect the nodes with zero slack, provided TE at the arrowhead is because of TE at the tail. Okay, on connecting the activities, on connecting the nodes with zero slack, satisfying this condition will get you the critical path. Though this process is simple, but if you are required to find critical path every now and then this will be a time consuming process. So we have another process by which we will be finding critical path, because in crashing of networks, as you crash certain activity duration change, and you will have to find new critical path. Earlier found critical path will continue to exist, but because you crash some of the activity, you reduce the duration of some of the activity, there is a possibility of getting new critical paths. So there, all in all, there will be need of finding critical path, frequent need of finding critical path, right? So with that purpose, we will be having one more algorithm, one more approach by which we will be getting critical path very easily, right? And that is by representing this network graphically. Means whatever are the lengths of the activities are precisely indicated on graph paper, right? So we'll be representing this network on graph paper. Time scaled version of this network we will be drawing. And when we have to draw the time scaled version, we will be indicating activity time by horizontal line. It will be containing every line, either vertical or horizontal, right? So here it is. We have the time scaled version. I will be telling you how to draw the time scaled version of um, of the network, right? So look here. The activity A, first of all, we will have to draw, and the duration of the activity is 70, right? So this 70 hours we will be drawing on this graph paper by taking a proper scale, and by looking at the extent of the graph paper, I come to conclusion that 1 unit, 1 centimeter equal to 20 hours will be proper for drawing the network in time scaled version. right? So for representing 70 hours, I'll be requiring 3.5 centimeters. So here I draw activity A with 3.5 centimeter length, right? That is in fact 70 hours. So I draw the activity A of 70 hours. Now on completion of activity A, I have activity B of 40 hours, activity C of 50 hours, activity D of 60 hours. So I draw all of them. Activity B of 40 hours, but I don't draw the node immediately after completion of that 40 hours. Okay, I don't hurry for drawing the node. Okay, I'll just be keeping that 40 hours open. Then activity C 50 hours. Now I know that activity B and C will be joining at a node, after which activity E will be starting. So activity B and C will be joining 50 hours later to this node, right? On time scale, they will join at 120 hours. After 120 hours, okay, 70 plus 50. Okay, so but this is 40. What, how to fill up the gap between this 40 and 50? So that gap we will be leaving as it is. At the most, we may be putting dots in between. Okay, just to signify that there is a slack of something like 10 hours. There is a slack of 10 hours here. Okay, and then after I have the node drawn here, I will be drawing activity E of 70 hours, because activity E takes 70 hours to complete. I'll be drawing horizontal line of 70 hours, and I won't be dropping vertical line, because I don't know whether it is to be dropped here or somewhere else, or the vertical line will be coming up. I don't know right now until I reach to this node by other part. Now that I have drawn this activity E, I have to look into this lower dependency. C and D will be uniting at a point. They will be completing at this node, and after that activity F will be starting. So C is taking 50 hours and D is taking 60 hours. So you have to have the vertical line coming down from activity C. Okay, but I know that activity C is completed in 50 hours. So latter part after activity C is represented by dotted line. Okay, that is simply the that simply represents what? Slack time. The activity C is in fact completed, but for starting activity F, the C completion will have to wait for D completion, and then only they will join at this point. Okay, there is again the slack of 10 hours here, right? I have not mentioned the slack times here. Okay, but you can mention slack times, right? Then activity F of 50 hours will be starting from the node indicating completion of activities C and D. Okay, now this is 50 hours, this is 70 hours, right? That is on time scale. Here so far we have covered 190 hours, and activity F would have completed well, years over by 180 hours, right? There is a slack. There will again be a slack of 10 hours, because activity E and F will be joining at a point um, which is signifying completion of the laterally completing activity. Okay, latter completing activity is E. Okay, so from this E, activity G will be starting. Activity G duration is 60 hours. Okay, so this is how this network is converted into time scaled version. You can draw this time scaled version directly from the dependency information as well, by a little bit of practice. Now that we have drawn this time scaled version, how to find the critical path? Critical path is the path without slack. Okay, it is a continuous path. Okay, so I will be starting from A. Then if I go to B, there is a slack here, so it won't be on critical path. If I go to D, there is a slack here. Okay, after D, I will have to go to F. Okay, but in activity F, there is a slack. So critical path is a path without any slack from starting node to ending node, right? So if I complete activity A and then go complete C, then complete E, then complete G. A, C, E, G is a critical path, and total time to complete the project is 250 hours. You may count it or you may put your readings right here, right? 1 centimeter is equal to 20. So here is 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160, 180, 200, 220, 240, and last node is coming at 250. So it takes 250, or you may count it this way: 70 plus 50 plus 70 plus 60. Means you count the durations marked on the critical path. Okay, A, C, E, G, that comes equal to 250 hours. So critical path is A, C, E, G, and the duration is 250 hours, right? So now I want to find the cost of completing the project. There are two costs. One is direct cost and one is indirect cost. What is direct cost? Cost for completing the activity is the direct cost. That is, if I take this cost for example, right? Normal cost, because I have completed the activity in normal duration, so I'll be requiring this cost to complete each of the activity. So total of this cost comes equal to 4,500, right? 500 plus 400 plus 500 plus 800 plus 700 plus 800 plus 800, that comes equal to 4,500. So 4,500 is the direct cost, right? 4,500 is the direct cost, and there is indirect cost, which is charged on her hourly basis, 40 per hour. And your project continued, your project lasted for 250 hours. So 250 into 40 is the indirect cost, right? So this 250 into 40 comes equal to 10,000. Direct cost is 4,500. So total cost is 14,500. Okay, normally it happens so the your indirect cost is lesser and direct cost is higher normally, but here somehow indirect cost is more, but that doesn't make a difference in optimization. The approach will be same. Now, uh, mm, now we'll be interested in finding which activity is to be crashed. So you will be keeping two, three considerations while in mind while deciding the activity to be crashed. Very first, the activity must be on critical path, because crashing any other activity, the activity which is not on critical path, doesn't make sense. It will be simply addition to the cost, and the project duration will not be reduced because of crashing the activity on which is not on critical path. It will be simply adding to the slack, and project completion duration will remain same. For example, if I crash activity B, crash activity from 40 days, for example, I crash it to 30 days, 30 hours, sorry, for 30 hours, from 40 hours to 30 hours. Okay, your project completion duration still will be 250 hours, because this activity is not on critical path, so doesn't decide the project completion duration, right? So crashing this activity will be unnecessarily adding the slack here and adding the cost also. Okay, because you complete this activity in lesser time, there will be cost addition. right? So don't crash the activity which is not on critical path. So if you crash this activity or C or E or G, project completion duration will get reduced. And when the project completion duration gets reduced, indirect cost also decreases. Now it is interplay in between the crashing cost and the indirect cost. When you crash certain activity on critical path, crashing cost will get added, but indirect cost will get reduced because you are reducing the duration of completion of the project, and this will then lead to us to find the optimum project completion duration. Now we have to find out which of the activity A, C, E, G is to be crashed. Now the activity which has least crashing cost per day, per hour, in our case, least crashing cost per hour will be crashed first. Okay, and if it is on critical path. So we are finding that crashing cost per hour for activity A is rupees 20, then activity C on critical path is rupees 25. Then activity E, which lies on critical path, crashing cost per hour is rupees 10 only. That's very fine. That is attractive cost to crash the activity E. Let's find it about activity G. It takes rupees 30 to crash activity G by 1 hour. So we have decided now to crash activity E by now that we have decided to crash activity E. Why? Because the crashing cost per hour for activity E is minimum amongst all. This the approach which we are using for crashing the network is heuristic. Okay, right? So we will be crashing. Now the immediate question is, by what amount should you crash it? By what extent should you crash it? You should crash the activity by the extent which will which will not lead to have another activity on critical path. For example, here, if I can crash activity E from the table. Activity E is taking minimum 70 hours activity E, and normally 70 hours, and it can get completed in 40 hours. That means it can be crashed by 30 hours. From 70 we can bring it down to 40 hours. Okay, but that crashing is not to be done all at once. Okay, you just consider this network time scaled version of the network as a certain mechanism in which you consider this as sliding rods with the resistance equal to 70, 40, 50, 60. Sorry, not these are not the resistances. Resistances will be the cost loops. Okay, so I will be indicating the cost loops directly on the diagram so that we can make all the decisions based on the diagram. Okay, so I'll be marking the cost loops in different ink, different color. All right. For A, cost loop is 20, right? And for B, it is 25. For C, it is 25. For B, 25. For C, also 25. And for D, it is 30, right? For D, it is 30. For E, it is 10. And for F, it is 15, right? And for G, it is 40, all right? For G, it is 40. So these figures which I have written in red, these are cost loops, and we can consider them as the resistance exerted when that particular rod or the activity is compressed. Okay. Now that I have to crash activity E, it is just like assuming that I'll be pushing at this point. Okay, now the question is, to what extent should I push this? Okay, there is the resistance of 10 here, and here there is a gap of 10. Okay, there is a slack of 10 here, right? That is not marked here, but there is a slack of 10. Okay, so until I push this point 10 hours inside, okay, there will be the resistance of 10 only. But if I continue pushing it ahead, the resistance will, there will be combined resistance because of two activities. Because of this activity there will be resistance of 10, and because of this activity there will be resistance of 15. Okay, so this helps you in deciding the extent by which the activity which you are crashing, um, mm, by what duration that is to be crashed. So I'll be crashing this activity just by 10 hours. Okay, just by 10 hours, because after 10 hours there is going to be some change. Okay, the resistance is going to increase. So at that point of time, I'll be taking some other decision. All right. So I'll be pushing this 10 hours inside, 10 hours towards left. So what I'll be doing, I'll be redrawing this network, but this node I'll be drawing at this point, right? Just see, I have drawn this node 10 hours before, and rest of the things as it is attached to this node will still be attached to the node. So whole the diagram is shifted after this point is shifted 10 hours before, right? Now the activity duration of activity E is 60 and this is still 50. But what has happened, this slack which existed here of 10 hours is gone. Okay, now there is no more slack here, right? And you are seeing that activity A, D, F, G also has come on critical path. In addition to our earlier critical path, A, C, E, G was our earlier critical path. So what we are having here is A, C, E, G will continue to be critical path, but because of our crashing of the activity E, another activity has came on critical path. Now I have two critical paths, A, D, F, G also is on critical path. The project completion duration has reduced to 240 hours. There is a reduction of 10 hours. Okay. So my earlier cost of project was 14,500. Now it will reduce. Why it is going to reduce? Because I have crashed activity E by 10 hours, and the crashing cost per hour of activity E was rupees 10. Okay, from the cost slope I know that. Okay, so 10 rupees I am saving, 10 rupees I am needing, I am adding to the cost. All right, and 40 rupees I am saving because my 10 days are 10 hours are reducing. Okay, my project length is now 240 hours, so there is a reduction of 10 hours. 10 hours reduction means there is a reduction because of in indirect cost. So 10 into 40, 400 rupees reduction is there, but there is simultaneous addition in the crashing cost also. Okay, I have crashed activity E by 10 hours. Okay, and the crashing cost per hour of activity E is 10. So 10 into 10, 100 rupees I have added. So there is a net saving of 300 rupees. Okay, 400 I have saved and 100 rupees I have added. So there is net saving of 300 rupees. All in all, this calculations of the cost is to be done like you take earlier cost 14,500 and you are saving 10 hours, and 10 hours will be multiplied by the amount you are saving. What is the amount you are saving? 40 is the indirect cost minus 10 is the crashing cost. 40 minus 10. This is the crashing cost um, per hour of activity E. So 300 rupees you are saving. So 14,500 minus 300 is 14,200. So the latest cost because of the crashing has reduced from 14,500 to 14,200. Now, once again, you look at various activities. Now, activity A is on critical path, right? Crashing cost per hour for activity A is 20, right? C is crashing cost here. I am finding it is rupees 25. Okay. B and D I won't be concerned with because they are not on. D is on critical path. Crashing cost for activity D is rupees 30, right? So, as compared to A, if I compare the crashing cost so far seen, A is minimum. Let's look ahead. Crashing cost per hour for activity E is still 10 and activity F is 15. But if I want to crash any of these two, I have to crash them simultaneously. Okay, I have there will be combined resistance of 10 and 15, that is 25 if I press this point. Okay, there will be, so I have to consider that if I want to crash this, I have to crash this also. Okay, so there will be combined resistance of 25 per hour, right? And as far as activities G is concerned, I will not prefer to crash it. Okay, why? Because because it takes the crashing cost per hour for activity G is rupees 40. Okay, at the end I will be crashing it because there won't be saving in terms of money, but there will be saving in terms of time. Okay, so let's move ahead. Now I will be crashing activity A. Now, how much I can crash? So you refer to this table again. Main normal duration of activity A is 70 and maximum crash duration, minimum duration is 50 hours. Okay, so I can reduce the duration of this activity from 70 to 50. Nothing is coming in between. I can simply push, I can um, push at this point. I can push at this point. There will be resistance of 20 only, no more resistance. Minimum resistance is there 20. So I'll be crashing it completely and I'll be crashing it to 50 hours. Okay, so what will happen? Whole this thing ahead which is attached to this node will come behind. Okay, so I have reproduced this diagram. Okay, this I have drawn 50 and from this point whole the thing ahead I have reproduced here. Now the project is getting completed in 220 hours because 20 hours I have saved here. Okay, from 240 I am reducing the duration to 220 hours. Now in terms of cost, my last standard of the cost is 14,200. Now how much I am saving? Okay, I am saving 20 hours. Okay, 20 hours. Because of 20 hours, how much is the saving and how much is the cost addition? So net saving I will be subtracting from this 14,200. What is net saving? 20 hours multiplied by indirect cost minus cost per hour, cost per hour of activity A, crushing cost per hour of activity A, that is 20. So 40 minus 20, 20 rupees per hour is net saving and you are saving 20 hours. So total cost you have brought down to 13,800, right? Again, your critical paths are ACEG and ADFG. Once again, now this is completely crashed. B, you won't be crashing. C, you may crash. Okay. And D, you may crash. Right. That we'll be seeing later. Right. Now, activity E and F, they are in on time scale active in this time zone. Right. So activity E is right now 60 hours, and there is, from the network I'm coming to know, I can reduce it to 40 hours. And F, I can reduce it to I can reduce F activity F to 20 hours. Okay, I can reduce activity up to 20 hours. Now, once again, I have the question that I have decided to crash this two combinedly. I'll be putting a pressure here. I'll be putting a pressure here, and I will be pressing these two links combinedly. Okay. Now, E can be compressed till 40 hours, not more than that. So F also will be compressed to 30, not to 20 right now. So I am saving 20 hours once again. So what I am doing, this activity, this node, I am compressing to this point. Okay. And this activity will come here because it is attached to this node. Okay. So the difference in the network, you have accommodated 20 hours reduction, right? Now, what will be the new cost? Earlier cost was 13,800. In that, how much is the saving? Net saving per hour will be 40 minus how much cost? You are taking, this is 10 and this is 25. I'm sorry. How much this is? 10, and cost crashing of activity app cost of crashing of activity app is 15, not 15. So total resistance incurred will be 40 minus 10 minus 15, that is 40 minus 25, right? 40 minus 25 per hour. This will be the net saving per hour, and you are saving 20 hours. Okay, so 20 into 15, that is coming out to be 300 or 300. So 13,800 minus 300, right? 13,800 minus 300 will be 13,400. Right? Yes, 13,400. No. 13,800 minus 300, 13,500. 13,500 is the cost. Now we have brought down the cost from 14,500 to 13,500. Now, once again, we'll be looking into the possibility of compressing another activities. The uncompressed activity, activities which we have completely crashed. Let us mark them. Activity A, we have completely crashed. There is no scope in crashing the activity further. Activity E, we have completely crashed. Okay. And now what are remaining? There is a scope of 10 in activity F. But is it worth crashing activity F, or can we crash activity F further? Okay, that is to be seen. Okay, but before that, let's talk of activity B. Can we crash it? No, because it is not on critical path. Activity C. Activity C, can we crash it? Activity C can be brought down to 20. Okay, from 50 we can bring it down to 20. Okay, from 50 we can bring it down to 20. So should we crash it, right? Can we crash it or not? But when you will be crashing activity C, parallelly activity D also is to be crashed. Okay, because if you simply crash this activity, apply the pressure here, You apply the pressure here. Okay, this is already the critical part. You will find that there is some buckling on this side. Okay, when you look at this network technically, wherein you are applying pressure here and trying to crash this activity, to the extent of the slack here, there will be some buckling in this side because of the connections, some connections on this side. This will also get pushed inside, and but there is heavy resistance. We are not considering that resistance while pressing this. So all in all, we come to conclusion that we cannot press this, even though the slack here is attracting us to press here, but because of the connections ahead, and before, we are prohibited from pressing it. And if at all we want to press here, we have to be ready with the resistance of the amount, like something like what happens here. What is the resistance? Resistance, if I press here, big activity C. Activity C resistance is 25 per hour. Okay. D, activity D, it is 30 per hour. So their total is exceeding the indirect cost, which is 40. So there won't be saving if I crash this, because crashing cost is more than indirect cost. So I won't think of crashing activity C. Okay. Can I think of crashing activity D? It also suffers from the same problem. If I push that down, this node also has to come in, but now the activity E has completed its limit of crashing it further. Okay, so there will be definite buckling here. So all these considerations are to be made while you crash the network. Okay, so B, C, D, we cannot crash. Okay, if you are ready to add to the cost, or if you are bent on reducing the project completion duration, then only you will be crashing, otherwise not. But here our target is to minimize the cost, not minimize the duration. All right, if your objective is to minimize the duration, then definitely you will be crashing activity C, simultaneously you will be crashing D or F, whatever. All right. And now the only activity, two activities are remaining. Can I crash app? No, you cannot crash app, because you have prevented C and D from crashing. And in this time zone, there is activity E, which is requiring 40, which is crashed um, completely. There is no more scope of crashing activity. So you, because of that, you cannot crash F also. Now what remains is G, activity which you will be crashing, will be G. Okay, and crashing cost per day for activity G is 40. So you won't get cost benefit, but you will be getting duration benefit at zero cost saving, right? So till this point, the network will be same. So I won't be drawing it here. I'll be simply drawing the node, whereafter the things will change. Okay, till this point, the diagram is same. I'll be marking it by ditto. Okay, till this point it is same. Only change is going to be ahead, because activity G, we are reducing from 60 hours to 40 hours, right? We are reducing activity duration of activity G from 60 to 40, right? So here I go. This is 10 and 20, 40. So critical paths are still same. Critical path is still A, C, E, G. No new critical path is there. A, D, F, G. All right. Duration. Yes. Now how much? You have reduced 20 hours. So duration is 180 hours. And what is new cost? Cost is equal to earlier cost 13,500 minus uh, how many hours you have saved? 20. And what is the net saving per hour? It is indirect cost is rupees 40, and crashing cost for the activity you have crashed is 40, right? 40 minus 40. So this is zero. There is no saving. So the cost is 13,500, right? But project will get completed in 180 hours, right? That is how you will be crashing the network. All right. So the considerations are will require you to be part of crashing. Okay. This being a heuristic, I have not taken this in a much very clear cut heuristic way. Okay. I wanted you to involve yourself in I want you to involve yourself in the crashing activity so that heuristic is properly understood. Okay. Wherever you are thinking of crashing, you just find out the implications of crashing. Implications could be increasing the cost, or it could be buckling of some of the flexible link. Okay, because that link is either fixed, you cannot crash it further, or the link parallel to that activity is fixed. So there is going to be buckling somewhere. So you just consider, if you consider this network as being a mechanism which contains some flexible bars with the resistance, right? And there are some places where there is zero resistance, that are called as slack places, right? So if by that consideration, this will be very comfortably done. Crashing will be comfortably done. So that is how crashing of networks is done. Okay. So we finish here. Thanks a lot.